SBGB TV live call-in show.
DEEZY, it's Crystal. I'm calling from Virginia. How are you?
Crystal, what's happening? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I had 2 points that I wanted to make. I just caught up on your stream from yesterday about like Adam and Moose Man's sit down.
Okay.
Aren't they in a lawsuit regarding violence at No Jumper?
Yeah.
So if I was those people's lawyers, I would be adding this footage to my civil lawsuit about how WAC 100 and No Jumper has predeposition of violence, because you guys know you're in active litigation regarding violence, and WAC is unhinged in causing violence at the workplace. That's one. Two, Adam creates scenarios, even though it was good content, right?
Mm-hmm.
He creates scenarios to which violence occurs. So I'm actually kind of surprised that given that lawsuit that could honestly bankrupt No Jumper, that they would still be discussing and being in scenarios like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, it's definitely wild. And, you know, you got a point there. You know, the people that was involved in it, I'm sure they got wind of what's going on. So, you know, it would be a great idea for them to do that.
And then the second point I wanted to make, if what's his name, Marciano or Jay Reed, I don't know who's suing, but
both of them.
I would definitely subpoena whatever contract that they have, because how does that work that Adam can say he has to keep WAC separate from different castmates? Like, that is something that I would be putting up in my civil litigation against No Jumper. So that's just my only 2 points, is that if these people that are suing have decent lawyers, I would definitely be filing this in my civil litigation. It's not criminal, so the burden of preponderance is much lower. So if you're listening, make sure you're getting that information and providing it to your lawyer. That's all I had to say.
Yeah, that's a good point. And, you know, I appreciate you giving your point. And, you know, they probably are going to do that because it's showing a pattern of the same behavior, and that's what they're suing for. And the person that is in the middle of everything is the one that is involved with it, but he's acting like he don't got nothing to do with it.
And DEEZY, that brings up another good point, because yes, we don't have all the information because it's under seal, but I refuse to believe any decent law enforcement if agency hasn't subpoenaed WAC's text messages, his documents. I refuse to believe that. So even if we don't know all the ins and outs yet, because it's still under active investigation, no law enforcement worth a damn is not going to look into WAC 100 records, subpoena. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't really make sense.
I feel like he's providing them already with the information, you know, and making sure that they have the documents, because he was named suspect number 4 in the case from the beginning, and he's no longer a suspect. So in order for you to be a suspect 1 minute and then no longer be a suspect, you had to sit down and have some type of conversation for you not to be a suspect anymore.
And the way he gets, like, I watched that stream maybe about a year ago when academics just asked him, like, hey, so have they tried to talk to you? And the way he became, like, irate lets you know that he is definitely involved, and they definitely have talked to him about the situation. One, he's on footage. Once again, any reputable law enforcement agency is going to try to identify and contact the people that are in that video of somebody getting jumped, somebody shooting. I don't know. You get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So, like, it doesn't even match, like, a logical conclusion of, okay, you were at a scene of a crime, right? We see you on video, right? So nobody talks to you, but Loose Cannon is hemmed up. Everybody else is hemmed up. The other guy's, like, I don't know, what did you say, paralyzed?
Yeah, on one side of his body.
But nobody talks to you. That doesn't literally make sense.
And inside of the first police report, it says that, Whack, he says, don't do it, Loose. Don't do that. Stop. So it says this in the police report. They know who it came from because they seen the damn video.
Exactly.
And of course, they would talk to him and find out who was the other people that was there and who was involved. Of course, it wouldn't make no sense for them not to.
Do you think so? Like, you've been exposing him, or like foot on his neck, and I appreciate that. I'm very entertained, right? Do you think his day of expose is coming? Like, do you think when it's all said and done, when Big U goes to trial, and I watched a video breakdown about Brian Blake's like breakdown of the paperwork, and I actually really agree with your assessment about how Big U is trying to expose Whack through his paperwork, but he does have bigger fish to fry. I agree with that assessment.
Yeah.
However, do you think Whack is actually going to get exposed legally?
I think eventually. I just don't think right yet. I think Whack is past proven reliable, and he's done gotten so many people that it's not the time yet. And it's like when his time runs out, whereas though, people start waking up and he can't perform the same, but right now he's still able to get people to call him, give him information. So it's like he's valuable to their, for them as a resource. So I don't think at this moment they would do it because they still using him for benefits. But when it comes to time, because they always do, he's not going to do forever because he's in the middle of the shit. It's going to come out. But I just think now it's just he's too resourceful and he's too, accurate when he's getting these indictments.
I agree with that. And I also, because Big U is still under investigation and he goes and until he goes to trial, because my prediction is that when Big U goes to trial, I think that's when Whack may get exposed. That's what my big feeling is. Him and Loose, when Big U and Loose Cannon go to trial, if they go to trial, if they don't plea out, I think that's when we'll kind of see some information come out with Whack. But I will say, between you and Brian Blake, I do think y'all are doing a pretty good job of like trying to be fair and like exposing the information about him. Because one, he's a shit stir, and I don't like that. I don't feel like you should be a decent human being. You should be able to like sit down with people, even if you have different opinions or you criticize them. I don't think you should just automatically go to bullying. And you posted a clip about this Baltimore guy going in on him, which very funny, by the way. And he said a good thing about how he uses his alleged gang affiliation to intimidate people when it suits him. And I totally agree with that. So,
I think though with the case, we are going to see some key details when Big U goes to trial. But Whack is going to spin them. When it comes out of certain things that might have been said with Loose Cannon and how information came from Loose Cannon and Whack with certain things, he's gonna make it look like, well, I didn't do this. My name came up because of this reason. The same thing that he does with everything. Anytime something comes out where it's directly, even like with the situation with the parking garage and them, saying that he was screaming Eugene. So he spent that. And, it's like every time something comes out to pinpoint it, he just lies directly to spin it. Even though we can see it, he just lies.
But I feel like he only lies to dumb people. Like even academics, I consider academics smart. I think he plays the game. Like I think he pretends not to know things, but I've seen his legal analysis and like his criminal breakdowns. And I think he is pretty intelligent, right? So I think his lies only work to that dumb, like low IQ, like the way you described it is people who play that politic and like gang affiliated things, but people who are just like me who enjoy watching, true crime and things like that, I think it doesn't fly, it doesn't make sense.
It definitely don't make sense to people that have common sense. You know,
Yes.
for the people that don't have common sense, I think they're easily manipulated, you know, from the things he says because of the way he delivers it and in his tone of voice. But when you got common sense, you can see exactly, you know, what it is.
Yeah, because if somebody else said it and they didn't want to be affiliated with Whack, they wouldn't buy it at all. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't sound right. Even just like, even if you watch Dateline NBC and you see how they do investigations, it wouldn't pass your common sense. So it's like they choose to suspend their belief to accept what he's saying. And I think that's how he has those clubhouse goons, which is mad corny, like very, very corny to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just my opinion. And I also want my last point is I also like that you don't engage with him on his platform. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
I think you should stick with that and stand on your own square, and continue to build your own platform up, because he can manipulate that clubhouse and audience to like not turn on you, weaponize you. So yeah, I like that you just.
That's why I've never done that. You know,
smart.
Like, you know, these other people, they want to go over there and they want to challenge him in his area, and then he's able to paint a narrative and, you know, make things look a certain way, and then you got to try to defend it. But he's only called me, and that's the only time that I allowed a conversation when we're on the show. And I've never talked to him personally because I see the games that he play and the manipulation. So whatever he says, I want everybody to hear it at the same time, so we all know what's said, and he can't try to like paint a different narrative.
Very, very smart, because he's even like tried to weaponize academics' platform several times. And I watched like this 2-hour clip on academics where even his fans or chat supporters or whatever he calls them were like, hey, we don't want Whack like taking up the stream anymore, blah, 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 blah. So I think that's a good thing. And he also tries to do that at No Jumper and manipulate and weaponize Adam and etc. So I like that you just used your own square, and I think your channel will continue to grow, and then it'll get more momentum.
Yeah, you know, and you know, that's why we keep grinding. We know, you know, it's not gonna happen overnight. That's why we continue to keep doing what we doing, and it's building every day. We growing, and it's just about the consistency. And you know, people know the way that I break this shit down. I break it down raw and authentic, and I get right to the point. And it's like he's putting this stuff out there. I'm just breaking it down.
Yep. And I'm still going back to old clips. Like I just watched your old clip of him and Adam talking about the diaper company, and I was like, dang, DEEZY been on this man.
Yeah. I done listen, we done called Amazon on live.
I saw that one too. I was cracking up. But I told my husband, I was like, this is the journalism I like. Like I like the boots on the ground. Like you're calling Amazon, you're calling this. And all it takes, because I do also think this day is coming. I think Adam and Whack gonna have a fallout. I do believe that. I think it's so coming. Too. I think it's coming. And I honestly, this brings me to my next point. What kind of contract do you think Whack and Adam have? Because I really still don't get their business relationship.
I think they got like a contract, like a 50-50 on the views and the payout. And I think they got a contract like he has a keep away order from the people at the podcast. And you know, for him to be able to like bring people if he want, and you know, him and Adam discuss that kind of, you know, who's going to be on the podcast. And you know, the building got to be clear when he comes.
Yeah. And how long do you think it's for?
I think it's for like 5 years.
Damn, you think it's that long?
Yeah, I think it's at least 5 years, because you know that type of stuff that Whack does. When he does a contract, he makes sure that he stretches it out. He ain't doing no short contract, you know, because he's trying to manipulate the situation and he wants to infiltrate. So if he makes the contract long for what he wants it to be, it's beneficial. Whereas though you can't just get rid of it.
Yes. Yep. because on one of your videos, I don't remember which one, you were talking about how Vlad was smart enough not to do like that type of contract, and basically Adam was like the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. I think the strife that Whack has brought to No Jumper, and I'm not a No Jumper fan at any, like, I literally watch the clips that you post. So, I don't care if it sinks or swims, but he's brought a lot of strife to that podcast, and I don't know how long they've been doing it, but it's at least for a year, I'm assuming, right?
It's been a couple years. It might have been
Okay.
almost 3 years.
I know he's about sick of him.
Yeah, he gotta be.
I know he's about sick of him. He's so much drama. It's like, I don't know how he does it, but I agree with your assessment. I think they're going to fall out. And my final thing before I get off this phone is, you made another good point. Aiden Ross owes him money. Aiden Ross owes him money, but yet he wants to fight Moose Man.
Yeah.
Someone who, let's say, what was the number? I think you said 500,000. What was it that they were?
350.
$350,000. People have died over $500, but when it was Aiden Ross, he bent that knee.
Yeah, it shows you, that he's doing a lot of acting and he looks for the weak individual. And Aiden Ross standing up to him, he can't do nothing with him because Aiden Ross got more money than him. And, he's doing bigger business and he wants to be a part of Aiden Ross, but he crossed the line and got himself X'd out. And I said this from the beginning when I seen the relationship. I said, oh yeah, they're going to fall out, and Aiden Ross is Jewish, and them type of people, they don't deal with that disrespect and going against their own kind and the manipulation, like other cultures, like I'm gonna just say black people, being honest, letting people, put them against each other. They not doing that. So him saying that he got relationships with different type of Jews and they're not gonna go against each other for Whack in no shape or form.
No. And again, never threatened to beat up Aiden Ross. Said they were brothers. Asked him why he was talking to him like that. Because remember, Aiden came on. I watched it on your live, I think. Aiden came on the call with academics, mediating, talking slick, calling him a liar, things like that. And Adam was like, or not Adam, Whack was like, why are you, coming hostile? We never had these kind of problems. This man criticizes a podcast.
Yeah.
A podcast. And you're willing to crash out over that. I agree with you also that I wish Moose Man would have stood tough, even if he got knocked out.
Yeah.
I wish he would have just took one for the team, even if he landed a punch.
Yeah, see, if he would have stood tall, it would have been better for him all the way around the board, because if Whack would have hit him, he would have had a major payday. You know what I mean? From Adam, he could have sued Adam and Whack from the door, and it would have looked better on his whole behalf that he stood up to the situation and didn't back down.
Yes. But I also recognize No Jumper is not a place for logical people to go. Like, logical people don't go there and have, like, good discussions. It's fueled by that, like, I don't want to say poverty mindset. I'm not trying to sound classist or, like, I'm better than people, but they do have a poverty mindset.
I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, most people, if you have a workplace conflict, you sit down or you avoid each other. Most people don't come to fisticuffs, right? So it's just like, Moose Man, I still like him, but I am disappointed. And I think he's a little too logical for that crowd. And I hope that he doesn't turn into like the other flunky that was sitting up there. Doughboy is his name? He's a flunky.
Yeah, I can't stand it.
All right, my friend, I have wrapped your head off. Have a great day. I'm still dialed in.
I appreciate you calling in too.
All right, talk to you later.
All right, later. Yeah, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, man, and make sure y'all share the live.